Hi, this is Savitha. This presentation is about XML. Agenda of this presentation is we are going to discuss about introduction of XML and DTD. Introduction. XML is the full form of XML is Extensible Markup Language. It is used to define and store data in a shareable manner. So the XML document can be shared over the internet. It defines a set of rules for encoding the document for both human and machine readable. XML documents can be, it is very accessible and it can be read by both human and machine. It is very easy for understanding. It is defined by World Wide Web Consortium and it is an open source. It is flexible, structured way to store and transport data across different systems. XML is platform independent and language independent. It supports Unicode format. XML is self-descriptive. It can be understood by anyone. It is similar to HTML, but it doesn't contain any predefined tags to use. XML or extensible. The difference between XML and HTML is that they both are designed with different goals. XML was designed to carry data with focus on what data is, but HTML was designed to display data with focus on how data looks. XML tags are not predefined like HTML tags are. XML supports information exchange between computer systems such as websites, databases, and third-party applications. Examples include Internet browsers, PDF readers, Java, which is used to interact with most websites. Exchanging data between incompatible data systems is a time-consuming task for web developers. Large amount of data must be converted and incompatible data will be lost. XML also makes it easier to expand or upgrade to a new operating systems, new applications or new browsers without losing the data. XML separates data from HTML. The predefined rules make it easy to transmit data as an XML files over any network because the recipients can use those rules to read the data accurately and efficiently. XML documents are formed as an element trees. The syntax of XML are very simple and logical. Documents must contain one root element that is the parent of all other elements. XML prologue is optional. So the first line of the XML will look like this. Here the prologue is optional. If it exists, it must come first in the document. This will be the first line of your XML document, but it is an optional. XML documents can contain international characters like Norwegian or French. To avoid errors, you should specify the encoding used. So this is the encoding UTF-8. This is the encoding type we are using in this XML version. So UTF-8 is the default character encoding for the XML documents. All elements must have a closing tag. All should have an opening and closing tag. XML tags are case sensitive. The tag capital letter, that is letter is different from the tag letter. This letter is case sensitive. XML elements must be properly nested. For example, if we start it with a bold, it should have to be ended with a bold. But here it is wrong, as the bold should be of same case. So if we start with B, capital B, it should have to be ended with the capital B. So the first starting element should be ended at the last. XML attribute values must always be quoted. So like here, it is an attribute. Category is the attribute for the book tag. The attribute value should be enclosed within a quotation mark. Replace some special characters with entity references. For example, if you want to have a less than symbol in your content, it should have to be replaced with a special character, that is ampersand LT. It should have to be, the less than symbol should have to be replaced with a special character, that is, this is known as entity references. The syntax for writing the comments in XML is similar to that of the HTML. That is, here it is an example for comment statement. XML does not truncate multiple white spaces. So, but in HTML, truncations of multiple white spaces is done. It is converted into a one single white space, but here in XML it is not. XML documents that conform to the syntax rules above are said to be well-formed XML. So whatever the thing we have seen now, any XML document to have to follow all these rules. So if a document is written following all these syntax rules, it is said to be a well-formed. Viewing and modifying an XML document. XML is usually a text file, ends with .xml extension. It does not require special software to develop XML documents. It can be developed with any text editor which supports ASCII or Unicode. Most browsers can display XML document in a formatted manner. XML parser. An XML parser is a software library or package that provides interfaces for client applications to work with an XML document. It is a software component or tool that reads and interprets structured data like XML and converts it into a format that a program can understand and work with. It makes the document data available to applications. XML parser validates the document and checks that the document is well formed. XML format does the following things. It first reads the XML document line by line or node by node. Checks for correct syntax, example matching tags, proper nesting, etc. It builds a data structure like a tree that represents the XML content. It makes the data accessible to the applications. XML namespace. XML namespaces provide a method to avoid element name conflicts. If we add two tags of the same name, it will be a problem in XML. So to avoid those conflicts, we can use XML namespaces. In XML, element names are defined by the developer. This often results in a conflict when trying to mix XML documents from different XML applications. It allows you to use the same tag names in different contexts without confusion. So for example, here this XML carries HTML table information. So it is a table creation here. We have table elements like apples and bananas. But here in this XML carries information about a table, a piece of furniture. So here we have included a starting tag called a table, in which we have a subtag name, the name of the table, then width, its length. But this table is different from HTML table. So if both contain a table element, both the elements have different context and different meaning. To solve this name conflict using a prefix name. So here we can include a prefix name, a different prefix name for different tags. So if we have both table tags in a same document, one table is prefixed by H and another table tag is prefixed by F. So here we can see H, it is the namespace here, XML namespace, name of a prefix. We have to assign a name for a prefix. Here we have included it as an H. It should have to be assigned with any unique URL. And another namespace called F, it should have to be assigned with any new unique URL. So by doing this, we can make H and F as a new namespaces. And we can use this namespace to differentiate a tag with another tag of same name. XML DTD. DTD stands for Document Type Definition. A DTD defines the structure and the legal elements and attributes of an XML document. So whatever the elements we are going to include, what are the attributes we are going to include in an XML document have to be defined by using DTD. DTD serves as a blueprint outlining the components, attributes and their correlation in a document. An XML document with correct syntax is called well-formed. A valid XML document is well-formed as well as it conforms to the rules of the DTD. A DTD can be declared inside an XML document as inline or as an external recommendation. DTD determines how many times a node should appear and how the child nodes are ordered. This is the syntax of using an document DTD identifier. Document type defines the root element of the document. In a document DTD, it should have a root document. A DTD contains declarations of 3 XML components. We can declare elements, attributes and entities inside a DTD. Elements. This component describes notations to define an element. It requires components and any elements it can or cannot contain. Each element must have its own definition within the DTD. So here it is the syntax of defining an element inside a DTD. Element type is the element name or the tag name. Minimalization denotes a 2-character entry that indicates whether a start or an end tag is required or not. A letter O means that the tag is optional. A minus sign indicates a tag is required. Double minus indicates that the element requires both start and end tag. Content model indicates a child element or data type or a specific rule. Child element. If an element contains any other element, specify list of elements as comma separated. Element name needs to be surrounded by a bracket. Here it is the syntax of including element, tag or element inside a DTD. Second, data type. There are 2 data types, PC data and C data. PC data is passed character data, whereas C data is a character data. We have to specify which data type each element is. Rule. If any rule is specified, it can either any or empty. Rule describes the list, sequences and occurrences of an element. So we can either use empty, any or a mixed content as the rule for an element. So these are some of the notations for the content model. Next, we can include an attribute list inside the DTD. An attribute list, the additional properties that describes an element. Attributes is the additional property that describes an element. The syntax of attribute component is shown below. So this is how we have to include the attribute element inside the DTD. Here element name defines the name of the element. Attribute name defines the name of the attribute. Attribute type and attribute value tells the type and value of the attribute. So now we have included element and attributes inside the DTD. Thank you.